Alright, so every once in a while I'll dive down a rabbit hole of an old TV show and I get into Red Dwarf once again. Um, Fell off the show in the last few iterations of it. It's one of these shows that's been going forever at this point. And the last special that came out, The Promised Land, I actually sat down and watched it about a week ago now. And for me, big lover of Red Dwarf from day one. I was only a small kid whenever that first came out, 1988. I think it was the first series of it, and yeah, the sense of humor in that show just really jumped out at me back in the day. It's a sort of humor that really tickles my funny bone, and the jokes, and particularly the early shows, was the sort of stuff that I would have cracked similar jokes, and to this day still do. Maybe not the most politically correct jokes you'll ever hear, but absolutely hilarious. So I thought I'll go back, check out the series from the start again. Brilliant. So the first episode was called The End. The mining ship Red Dwarf, of course. You've got Dave Lister in there, Arnold Rimmer. They go about their daily business of maintenance on board the ship. Rimmer takes the maintenance duties very seriously, despite lacking respect from the other crew members. Lister, more eager to be lazy and drink with other people, and he hopes to return to Earth to start a farm in Fiji. This is his 5-year plan with a girl on board the ship, Christine Kachansky. She's navigation officer on the Red Dwarf, and yeah, that's his plan. And he's a slob, and he says within the show, that's why he doesn't buy anything other than the bare essentials, like beers and kebabs and that sort of thing. Never buys deodorant or socks or clean underwear, all that sort of stuff. Complete and utter slob. When you sit down to talk about the show and you go through what's going on it definitely, in all fairness, doesn't sound funny whenever you just break down what's going on in an episode of Red Dwarf, but it's the jokes, the deliveries that come out within the show itself, absolutely hilarious. The delivery alone, essentially, is the funniest part most of the time for some of the jokes. One that kills me in this first episode is when Lister and Rimmer are going about their daily business of repairing vending machines on Red Dwarf. Lister's just doing his best to annoy Rimmer. One sequence in the first episode, Lister sparks up a cigarette while they're on duty, and Rimmer is going to put him on a report for it. And Rimmer says, "Is that a cigarette you're smoking, Lister?" Lister replies, "No, it's a chicken." And not a real funny joke, but the delivery of it is absolutely spectacular in the episode. Great little show. Rimmer in the first episode is preparing for his latest go at the engineering exam, hoping to get promoted, but finds that the notes he wrote in his arms and legs have been blurred due to him sweating. There's stuff like that there, like he's copying bits and pieces out of the books onto his arms. He's going to sneak through this exam. That is a funny sequence. Now he rolls up his sleeve, and as he's rolling the sleeve up, he rubs his hand up his forearm, and just all the ink has just skewed up his arm. He finishes off the exam. Before passing out, his hand's covered in ink, and he slaps it down on the paper. You see the handprint and the ink, and he just signs it, salutes, passes out. As I say, you're talking about the show that gets here. Doesn't sound that funny, but trust me, such a good show, particularly these first 2 seasons. Brilliant. Where am I at in my notes? Lister, he's brought before the captain. The captain has found that Lister has smuggled a cat on board the ship, brings it up as a non-quarantine pet, a pregnant cat he called Frankenstein. This is part of his plan too. Learning that Frankenstein will be put down for a biopsy, Lister refuses, and he's sentenced to 17 months of suspended animation in a stasis cell on the ship. So he goes in there, door closes, they turn it on. A couple of seconds later, the door opens up, he comes out, and the ship's ever increasing senile computer, Holly, he's informed Lister that all the crew is dead because of a faulty drive plate, caused them to be subjected to a dose of radiation. Lister, of course, horrified, learned that he could not be released until 3 million years after the accident happened. Holly had to keep him in there till the radiation got to a safe background level. So there, 3 million years later, he has fought out, finds he's on his own essentially. Lister discovers that Rimmer was resurrected by Holly as a hologram to keep him sane. You learn this early on in the show, before the disaster, that one of the officers that was essential to the Red Dwarf mission died, and he was brought back as a hologram. Unfortunately, the computer can only sustain one hologram, so 3 million years later, crew's dead. Holly decides Rimmer's the only one that can keep Lister sane, and reanimates him as a hologram. So a lot of funny moments whenever they're talking with each other about what's happening and what it feels like to be dead and whatnot. And you know, again, one of the jokes dropped here probably wouldn't be the most politically correct joke, but Rimmer does drop it. You know, what's it like being dead? And he says it's like being on holiday for a group of German tourists and whatnot. Yeah, and then we get another. For some reason, the couple of cigarette jokes in that first episode, like, really cracked me up. And again, it's simply the delivery from Lister whenever the back and forth is happening. He's in the drive room or the bridge of Red Dwarf, and he has sparked up another cigarette, and of course Rimmer's here. He's just Rimmer and Rimmer. And he's like, "What are you doing smoking a cigarette?" in the drive room, and Lister's like, "I quit for a while, but I'm back on them now." You know, 3 million years off of cigarettes because he's in animation, suspended animation. Again, whenever you're doing a video like this here, sort of chit-chatting about the show, very, very difficult to bring that humour across in this kind of format, because again, a lot of it is the delivery of the humour and the chemistry between the characters. Very, very good casting, I have to say, for Lister and Rimmer here. Craig Charles and Chris Barry, absolutely fantastic. The thing for Rimmer is he has the inability to touch or feel anything, and he learns that he's responsible for the accident. While they're exploring the ship, the pair come across this humanoid character, which Holly reveals to be the evolution of the cats. Whenever Lister was in suspended animation, the pregnant cat was safely down in the hold of the Red Dwarf, and they have been breeding and going on, so the evolution has actually brought the cats into a human form in this episode. A brilliant, brilliant character. The pair catch up with the cat. They manage to convince it that they're no threat. At this point, Lister names him Cat, basically, and learns that his ancestors created a religion that's based around Lister. When Cat explains that his kind revered Lister as Cloister the Stupid, who would lead them to the promised land, Fushal. Lister points out that he means to do that, and you know, it's not Fushal, it's Fiji, part of his 5-year plan. And not Lister, or not Cloister the Stupid, it's Lister the Stupid. And that's a good opening to it. After Rimmer remarks that humankind may have evolved to the point that Lister would be like the slime that first crawled out of the oceans, Lister declares, Look out, Earth, the slime is coming home. And at the end of the episode, it brings up the beginning. So the first episode is the end, referring to the end of the crew and whatever life was going for Lister before that. Now the new mission for him is to get home, and at the end of the episode, the beginning. Fantastic, great cast in this series. Again, we have Craig Charles as Dave Lister. Fantastic casting for that character. Chris Barry as Arnold Rimmer, absolutely amazing in that role as well. It's one of those ones that, he's just, whenever you see him in particular, that's, for me and anybody that grew up with this show, that's all you're ever going to see as Rimmer. And even Craig Charles as Lister, like I've seen him on all our shows and just I can't get away from this character. It's just, some people are born to play a few characters, and I thought I wasn't recording. And that's true of these two men. They're absolutely brilliant as the two leads in the show. Norman Lovett as the senile computer Holly is absolutely fantastic. Now, I have been delving into the history of the show a little bit, on and off as I've been watching it here, just working it out. He does actually leave the show at one point, but we'll get to that in due course. That's one of these things, whenever you hear what the reasons were, you were like, what the hell were you thinking on whenever you did that? The cat character, Danny John Jules, he is phenomenal in the show. There's a few sequences, particularly in season 1 of the series, what he does, just as the character that he is, phenomenal. Right, that's going to do it for this little chat about Red Dwarf, episode 1, season 1, episode 1, or series 1, episode 1. If you're one of these people that hate making the distinction between the series and seasons, yeah, that's going to do it, guys. I will talk to you in the next video.